I'm not Israeli and I'm not Jewish. And I survived the 7th of October. I'm Mathilda. I'm 25 and I'm from France. I moved in Israel officially in July, but I've known Israel since April 22, where I came as a tourist on and off. I live in Israel. I met a girl, which, makes you do crazy things, and we fell in love. I met her during a sailing trip. So I was planning to cross the Atlantic Ocean, and we met in the Canarian Islands, and she was also planning to cross the Atlantic Ocean. So two sailors that met, and then we saw each other along the way on the other side of the ocean also. And at some point after a few months, I decided to come to visit Israel for the first time. She's Israeli. She born here. She's third generation born here and been there for quite a while in told her that. The reason why we were in this kibbutz was because we live in Tel Aviv, which is the big city. And we know someone that lives there. And we usually go 1 weekend a month to have some quiet time because it's such a peaceful and beautiful place with fields of oranges, mango, pineapple. So we went there on Friday. We had a lovely Shabbat dinner, which is the Friday dinner in the Jewish culture, in a family with her mom, the partner of her mom, me and my girlfriend. And then we nicely went to bed after having a bit too much wine. And we woke up. I woke up first. I woke up at 6:20, 6:25, not from the siren, not from the bombing. I woke up from the launching of the rockets, which it's very close by, so you can hear everything. I've never heard a rocket launching in my life, but you cannot mistake it for something else. So it was just like this, and then 2 explosions. I woke up my girlfriend, which was still asleep. And the time I woke her up, we heard this voice that when you live in Tel Aviv or in the center, you're not used to hear, which is saying Tseva Adom, which is red alert. It's a woman voice. It's very scary, specifically when you're from Central Israel. You're not used to it, as I said before. And we didn't have a mamad. So what we did, we went to the corridor of the house, which is the place that has less windows, which, to be honest, if a rocket falls on you, there's no chances. But if it's just a piece of shrapnel or something, it's the safest place, let's say, the less bad. The common mamad in the kibbutz was way too far for us to reach. And the bombing was non-stop. And you can feel like the ground shaking, the walls shaking, the windows, like everything. I took a picture around, I think, 6:35, 6:40 of me, my girlfriend, and her mom. And we're smiling on the picture, which, if you think about it, is insane. And the reason why we're smiling is because when you live in Israel, you sadly get to learn that there is rockets from time to time. And we weren't aware at all of the situation. We just thought it's, perks of living in Israel. You have Hamas sending you rockets sometimes, and you just have to live with it, and nothing happens after. You just, for a few days, gonna have some alarms, and then that's it. I send this picture to my mom, and I say, hey, I woken up by the rocket sirens, but it's like usual, don't worry, everything's fine. And then around, I think it was 7:30, started to hear gunshots. And I've never heard gunshots except in movies. And I heard gunshots, and I said to my girlfriend and her mom and all, said, it's weird, I think I hear gunshots. And they said, no, I'm sure it's not that. Because for them it was so unexpected that it was not possible to hear gunshots. And I kept hearing it, and I think it was like 30 minutes later or something. We then saw the first image, which was in Sderot, the truck with the terrorists on it. The one that you see in movies from Afghanistan or Syria. And then I think the moment we realized was when we saw this image on TV from the guys on the parachutes that were arriving, I learned after at Nova Festival. This is the moment that we actually realized like, oh my God, like something is going on and this is big and this is huge. My mom didn't know where I was exactly. She thought I was home. Very good, because if not, I think from France, she would have lost it completely. I mean, what do you do when your children is in this situation? So the situation was that it kept bombing and it kept having gunshots and it kept being this huge movie scene. And we ended up staying around, I think, 24 hours, maybe a bit less, alone, without a bunker, without a gun, with nothing. We locked, of course, all the doors, all the windows. We could still hear gunshots, and it was not one or two. It was proper rifle fights, and if we can hear it, it's close. We also saw helicopters that were constantly turning around us and shooting from above us, and they're shooting close to the kibbutz, which my only guess is that some terrorists were trying to enter and they were defending us from the air. But on the ground, we didn't have anyone, except security, which was one or two guys with a small gun, which is completely irrelevant against super armed terrorists. We took some kitchen knife. It may seem completely delusional, and it probably would have been if they would have entered. But we took those kitchen knife, and I think it gave us a sense of control. The army arrived on Sunday morning, physically on ground. I remember it was those badass-looking women. It was mainly women and combat women, which I remember as a feminist and as a proud lesbian. It kind of warmed my heart and said, "Ooh, nice." But the first thought I had when I saw the army was all those Second World War movie that you see the Americans or the British arriving in those French villages, and it was this image, really, it was insane. Something that as an Israeli you kind of prepared to live, as someone that never have ties with Israel, that didn't know anything about this word or the Jewish culture or even this war as little as 2 years ago. It's something that you're not prepared to live at all. We offered them coffee, tea, and cake. They didn't sleep much, and they said we couldn't wait to arrive to you. But because of the situation, the roads were controlled by terrorists. Basically, all the terrorists were around us and just didn't come to us yet, which is a pure miracle. We learned afterwards that they stopped as little as 400 meters from us, which is the reason why I consider myself extremely lucky. And also, this is the reason why we could hear so well the fighting, the gunshots, the voices. It was crazy. So this we then stayed all up Sunday because they couldn't evacuate us safely yet from the village. And I think around it was 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, they finally gave us the green light, which was then we took our own cars, but we had army trucks in front, army trucks in the back, and we took a special road which was surrounded by tanks and military vehicle every 10-20 meters. It was super guarded because the control was still not regained in the south. And then we arrived to the road and we saw lines of cars, personal cars. And on the right of that, there was a line of tanks, thousands of tanks from the road till the horizon. I remember we saw that, and my girlfriend, was the first time that she cried in the car, and she said, "Well, they're gonna enter." And at this point, we knew that it was bad, but we didn't know all the testimony of the 7th of October. We didn't know yet about the scale of it. We knew that some villages were attacked. We know that some people were kidnapped and killed, but we had no idea that it was gonna be so big. So when she saw those tanks and she saw that people were gonna enter, she immediately started crying. We then arrived to a safe place. Israel was not safe, but safer than the war zone we were in, and we had a choice: left go home to Tel Aviv, which was under frequent bombing and rockets, and go south to Eilat, which is a southern town, which is relatively safe, doesn't have any siren. When I moved to Israel, I got ready to the idea of it. Meaning, if I move to Israel and I'm going to live with my girlfriend because she loves Israel and she for sure want to live here, she's born here, it will happen. This was for sure, I'm not delusional. I knew it would happen at some point. I didn't expect it to be that soon, which is, I officially arrived here in July. And it happened in October, which, if you think about it, is crazy. I thought I would have a few good years. A lot of people that are in my situation, which is partner Jewish people. A lot of people left, but I couldn't leave, just for the simple reason that my partner is now in reserve duty, so are my friends, which is part of also the hard part of it. Every time there is the name of a soldier that pops out, you think of your friend, because you know he's there, whether it's north, whether it's south, whether it's anywhere, you just know they're out there. And so I couldn't think about leaving Israel alone. You know, without your friends, without your partner. How can you leave your partner behind in a situation like that? It's not possible. Also, I also thought that if something happens, I kind of prefers to be here. This is the place I chose to live at. It should come with the good and it should come with the bad. It's like a relationship, you know? You cannot just leave the minute it gets bad. And I understand fully people that do, and it's okay. For me, I chose not to, because I'm attached to Israel as much as all the rest, because this country took me in, so I need to take it in also. How it has been, I think it's been very shocking, almost harder than the 7th of October for me. Because I think being Jewish or being Israeli, you're used to it. You're used to the anti-Semitism. You're used to the or anti-Zionism, as they call it. I'm not going to comment on that. You're used to all of that because you grow up with it, very sadly. You grow up with it, so you build your defense from a very young age. As a European, that's not even part of this word. To give you a simple idea, I didn't knew anyone Jewish before my girlfriend, or Israelis for the matters. This meeting her was the first time I actually got confronted to all of this. I think the overwhelming hate that I received from people that I don't know. There is an online harassment group, and I'm in there in their hit list, which means that I have thousands of messages from strangers that I don't know nothing about, that don't know anything about me, insulting me all day, thinking that I'm, of course, Israeli or, of course, Jewish, which is insane because why do you need to be Israeli? Why do you need to be Jewish to defend the right of Israel, to defend itself? Or to be present on the 7th of October for the matter. And I think all this overwhelming hate made me feel anti-Semitism firsthand. Also, not only that, I think I lost around 75% of my friends, which sucks. High school friends that you grow up with. How is it that they don't know you anymore? Is it just because I live in Israel? Is that the reason why you hate me? I'm not somebody that hates some other people. I'm just there living. And I think Israel is not perfect. I think there's a lot of things that need to be changed, that need to be improved. I truly understand and believe and will defend a two-state solution. It's maybe not the case of everyone. For me, this is not even a question. Even before knowing the conflict, I all the time understood that a two-state solution was the solution. If there is a march for peace with an Israeli flag next to a Palestinian flag, I'll be there. But seeing all those protests with Palestinian flag, shouting Intifada, which is a call for
terror attack to happen at my home, which is insane because then everybody becomes a suspect. You go to work and you risk being shot or exploded. Or Intifada is not just a revolution idea. It's calling for the murder of civilians, specifically Israeli one, and Jewish one, for the matter. But hearing people calling Intifada, hearing people from the river to the sea, which is the sentence that like, hey, I live from the river to the sea. Are you going to kill me too? And all of those people, and then when you try to talk with them, you realize that there is no peace in their heart. Calling for a ceasefire is beautiful if it's respected on both sides. The problem is that it's not. Seeing all the lies, seeing that some of my family member actually turned against me, it made me feel like, whoa, where was this all my life? Why did I not see this before? Like, I think it just jumped on my face. And I remember learning at school about the Second World War and wondering and saying, wow, I really wonder what I would have done in this situation. I think I would have been a resistance. I think I would have hid those Jewish people, so that they don't go to Auschwitz. It was, of course, theoretical because you're never going to be put in this situation. You never know how you react. I was just hoping that if I would have been there, I would have done the right thing. This is the moment that you can choose to do the right thing or not. I chose the right thing. I think it's super important to defend the right of Israel. I think it's super important to defend the right of Palestinians. I think it's super important to stand against anti-Semitism. Again, if there is a protest with both flags, side by side, holding hands, calling for peace, I'll be the first one to be there. If there is a call for Hamas to surrender and to give back the hostages, I'll be the first one to be there. If it's just a call for violence or for Israeli to just put their weapon down and let them slaughter, I'm sorry, I cannot be there at all. And the pain is so intense on both sides for people that are in the conflict. Palestinian, Israeli, Jewish, people living in Israel, Muslim, Christian, there is Druze, Bedouin, there's so many different ethnicity in Israel, and in Gaza and in Palestine. It's something I will never hold a grudge to anyone living in this situation because your emotions are first. But seeing American people, European people, people that know nothing about it, nothing, that never heard a bomb in there, but they cannot even imagine it. And if you actually dig deeper and ask them questions and stuff, they don't even know their subject. And even if they know it, what would you do?